Welcome to the Hamsey Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Thursday, August 23rd, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 1,104. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at negative 840. There were two new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and four new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. For the volatility, there were 280,000 contracts traded for the VIX today, with 51 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in September, we saw 0.35, which is bearish, with 32% of the total premiums paid. For October, a 0.40, which is bearish, also with 24% of the total premiums paid. And November, a 0.42, which again is bearish, with 19% of the total premiums paid. Here we have daily chart for SPX. Here we have a confirmation that we broke positive 1, positive 2 sigma channel. But the positive thing we have here is that we hold 0 sigma on the daily chart. 0 sig is right now at 13.99. We hold that level into the close, which was important. Intraday we broke it for a minute and then we just bounced higher. Today we were down 11.4 handles, or 8.8% for the day. Pretty rough day here in the market. We want to continue to hold this 13.99 level or 0 sigma, and maybe this is the pullback we talked about, so we're gonna keep on watching what happens tomorrow, Friday, with the markets. CI had warned us, be careful here. We talked about this red color and slope, and today it continued now and it dipped lower. CI dip turned negative yesterday. We talked about this little red bar we have here, and today you could see here the confirmation of a big down red bar in CI diff. Here on Sigma channel width, we talked about the contraction here on the Sigma channels. Today we continue that contraction as the market heads lower. Yes, all this action here, we talked about this warning signs we had, the outside day reversal, yesterday's doji, CI turned red, and now we have the confirmation of a lower bar. Okay, now going to the support, pivot, and resistance on the 60-minute chart. At the open, we broke pivot line. You could see here, pretty fast we went there, and we touched support number 1 at 1404. Looks like we were going to bounce back to pivot, but it didn't quite make it. After that, break support number 1, make the low for the day, and after we just started going sideways, pretty much bouncing off this support number 1. The levels we're gonna watch from here, 1404 is gonna be critical resistance on the upside. We need to break that and maybe try to go and test this pivot. 1411. In the worst case, we may be going to test weekly support number 2 at 1390. Of course, that would be breaking 0.6 to the downside. We're gonna watch to see what happens here, but you have here the targets. These are acting very well here on the 60-minute chart. Now let's go to SPY. On SPY, we're just gonna look at the targets here, and we could see here easily, after we made this high, we just started going lower, stopped here for a second on the pivot line, break to the downside. That was yesterday. We talked about this action state, could not go higher and test the highs of the year that we made that day before, and overnight we broke down. We are right now at support number 1, let's call it 140.7, and we need to get above 141.5 pivot, or we're going down to 139.25. Those are the important levels here to watch. So let's keep in mind the 141.5 weekly pivot, 140.7 support number 1, and 139.25. that's gonna be support number 2. Of course, if we do get a monster rally tomorrow, we could go to 143. Unlikely, but that's gonna be the upper target we have here, our SPY. Now let's look at the Qs here. Get some targets for the Qs just in case someone trades. Talked about yesterday the Nasdaq, and now today we're gonna talk about here the Qs, the CTF. Pretty much similar action with SPY. Made the high here on resistance number 1, and after that we just been selling off slowly. Yesterday we gapped overnight. Today we opened lower. You could see here, no trade of a gap fill. Although Apple went higher, tried to test its high for the year, Nasdaq could not follow, and then we started selling off. We touched weekly pivot, and that was support throughout the day. This weekly pivot has been support for the day on the 60-minute chart for the Qs. Here we could see that support is around 67.7. That's going to be a pretty important level here to hold for tomorrow. Maybe go and test at 68.9 or the highs of the year. That would be pretty good. But the target on the upside, 68.9, 67.7, and 67.10. Those are going to be the targets here on the Q for the very short term 60-minute chart. Now let's go to gold. GLD we talked about yesterday, having a breakout after the FOMC minutes. We are at positive 3 sigma on the daily chart, 2 days in a row. We are somewhat off the highs for the day, but pretty good action today, 0.85% or a $1.3 higher. We broke 200-day moving average without even testing it back. We went out yesterday, and today we just never came back. We are short-term overbought. Just wanted to mention that we talked about yesterday. Doesn't mean we're gonna fall tomorrow. Just some warning signs here. And now let's go to the 60-minute chart to get some targets. We are above all the weekly support, pivot, and resistance here. 161.88 was the close. We talked about 163 on the weekly chart, and that's gonna be our upper target. On the downside, maybe if we get a little pullback, come and test the 200-day moving average at 160.5. That is also the same price for weekly resistance number 3. Important level there. If we continue to go to the upside, we will be looking for sigma channels here on the weekly chart. We're talking about them. 165, maybe 164. That is pretty big from here. A big move, but gold has been moving up almost 1% in the last 2 days. So those are the chart. Maybe get tomorrow a little pullback on the 200-day moving average. Get something, some longs interested in that place, and then we could rally even more. Today we just want to see a close above the 200-day moving average for tomorrow on the weekly chart. That would be very interesting. Now let's go to the VIX. Here we have daily chart for VIX, up 5.6%. We're talking about here having a green CI, maybe having a 17, 16 VIX, more volatile intraday market, but still pretty good volatility for the market to continue its path higher. We broke 0 sigma on the daily chart. That we have been the whole August above 0 sig. You could see here was the break to the downside, and whole August we were below. We just closed above it. We want a confirmation tomorrow. Too late of a pullback does not make a bear market. We have been rallying overall pretty solid here on the market, and we're gonna watch what happens with the VIX tomorrow. Maybe get some volume back into the market next week, and the VIX go to 1727 is the upper target, or come and test those lows again, maybe 1414 level. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your HAMSI Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.